think one of the great things about doing outreach at Elevation is that we're a team. Pastor Stephen will often let us know far in advance that he's looking for something big, and we will have the opportunity to brainstorm on our own what that big next thing might be. So when the Orange Initiative was first announced at Elevation Church, I was not even on staff yet. I started at Elevation in 2011. Actually, I'll take that back. When the Orange Initiative was first announced at Elevation Church, I was on staff, but I was not over outreach. And so I, of course, thought it was amazing and audacious and almost impossible. And then when I became the outreach director and had the opportunity to take over the Orange Initiative project, then I knew just how huge it really was. It was an overwhelming opportunity to bless our city in a way that's never been done before. And I think when I realized that that task was going to fall on my shoulders and on my team's shoulders, my feelings were a mix of excitement and fear and overwhelm, because I knew that it's what God was calling us to do. And I knew that since it was His idea, He wouldn't let us down. But it was scary because along with that great idea, you have to have a plan in place in order to execute it and make it happen. You can't just come up with these dreams and say go do them without a plan in place. So it was our task to execute the plan and to come up with and execute the plan. Yeah, so it was a phenomenal opportunity, and I'm super grateful for it. But I do remember being afraid that that God wouldn't be there, you know. And I remember Saturdays over and over again where I would be brought to tears because we would set up an outreach opportunity for people to come to, not knowing who would come, not knowing how big it would be, and people kept showing up week after week after week, and the number of hours kept ticking up and ticking up and ticking up, and my faith was built every single weekend as God kept showing up and volunteers kept showing up, and 1 hour at a time, the 100,000 hours of the Orange Initiative was completed. When we accepted the challenge to take on the Orange Initiative, we were way behind in hours. In order to reach 100,000 hours, we needed to be hitting 10,000 hours every single month. And when I got the charge to take over the Orange Initiative, we were behind like 60,000 hours to that goal. Which is why when we went to Love Week, we had to hit 50,000 hours at Love Week, which was insane. Nobody in the United States has ever done anything like that before. And so for us to even assume that we could do it, it was crazy. But if it's crazy and it's God's idea, it's gonna happen. And we felt like it was God's idea, and we just needed to put the framework in place so that He could do His work, and He did. And yeah, my faith was tested because I knew I couldn't do it, and I knew if He didn't show up, we were going to be pretty embarrassed. I just knew that it was His idea, and so He'd show up. And the same thing really with M1 right now, because we wanted to be at 1,000 mentors by the end of this year. And 1,600 people said they were interested, but so far only 700 people have gone through the training. So that leaves us with, so how do we connect another 300 people out into the schools and to make that happen? So, you know, we figure out ways to make the call and to make it easier for people and to inspire them. And I think what we've learned over time is that people aren't inspired by the need, they're inspired by the vision. So when they can see that their service can change our city and really improve the lives of a student, they're inspired by that vision and they're inspired to action. They know the need is out there. Everybody knows that there are kids that need support, but until they can see an easy way to connect, And until they can really understand how their service can make a difference, they don't, people just don't get connected unless they can really see that vision. Clearly, God has uniquely prepared me for this season in my life. When I call someone and ask for something, they recognize my name. They don't, and it was particularly helpful when Elevation Church was only a few hundred people, because I would call, and say who I was before saying Elevation. My name would open doors because of the job that I did. And then now I think that because of what I did and because people trust me, I have a unique responsibility to, how do I say this? I feel the weight of the responsibility that people trust me because of what I did on television. And for me, that means that we have to spend every penny of the money that people give to Elevation Church exactly the way that we say we're going to. We're going to give what we say we're going to give. We're going to serve the way that we're going to serve, the way they say. Having a hard time. I think I just feel the weight and the responsibility that people trust me because of what I used to do as a news journalist. And I'm grateful to be in a church that is trustworthy, and that I don't have to go out of my way to make sure it's like that, because our church is filled with people who have great integrity. And but I do feel the weight of that people trust me, and so in the end, I just want to point them to Jesus, that it's not about me, it's not about Pastor Stephen, that it's about Jesus. And I think that God's uniquely placed me in this position with the gifts that He's given me to communicate and to inspire people. And I'm just really glad that I get to do it for His kingdom. Now, as far as the M1 initiative is concerned, we were asked to come up with something big for the fall, and so we'd been working on it for a while. And Pastor Stephen, it's funny how God works, I thought mentoring would be a great idea, but I wasn't sure our church was ready for it. And Pastor Stephen is always one to take a leap of faith and to say, I think this is what God's putting on my heart. I know it seems scary, but let's do it. And so when he said, that's what I want to do, I want to connect 1,000 mentors with students, we were excited. I think this time I wasn't scared because I knew God was there for us for the Orange Initiative. I knew He'd be there for us for M1. And again, when people showed up and said that they wanted to serve and be a part, it brought me to tears, and it boosted my faith, because this is His city, and He wants to see this city changed in His name, and to get to be a part of that is pretty phenomenal. My marriage is so much stronger now than it was. I think I'm a better wife and a better mom and a better leader because of Pastor Stephen's influence on my life. And I know I'm just one of 10,000 people who has that same story. I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be in this time and in this place and in a season where we all get to be together and work towards the same cause. It's awesome. Just to know that He's working in the lives of so many people in our church and in our city to make this city a better place to live for His glory, it's overwhelmingly awesome.